This is a voice that we've heard many, many times, and now a face that we're seeing for the first time. Hello, welcome to the show, John Newman.
Hey, how's it going?
Your new song is Hold On to My Love, and it kind of showcases something that you weren't known for a few years ago, but you've really honed the skill for over the past few years. That's your DJing skills. How does
Yeah,
it compare between just singing a song and also DJing, producing, doing all the instrumentals behind the song, as well as the vocals, when it comes to telling the story of a song?
I think it's more what I think it was a mentality thing that I was compared to like the instant thing to think is with a singer is that maybe they don't produce, maybe they don't do these things, and it's definitely an in-depth thing. For me, I think I've always produced and I produced my first record, my second record. I did a lot of the second record out in LA in Westlake, which was amazing. But yeah, I think it's about what you choose to tell people more about or how to present yourself. And I think, yeah, I think I've put myself in a new challenge to go back to producing dance music again after doing soul music. And the main difference is that soul music and pop music is a lot of live instrumental work that you're recording and coming up with the ideas of, whereas dance music is very much in the box, kind of you on your own in a laptop. So that's been the challenge, but it feels like so nice. I think for so long, as somebody that like strives to do well at producing, to do well at the talents that I have, it feels nice not just to be called a singer now. And I think that's such a nice thing. Like I feel like I'm getting the credit that maybe I wanted all along. And yeah, and I think that's what's always made me different to some people that just are singers. So it's nice to hear that now, you know.
Was there anything in specific that happened that made you want to make that transition to be known more of a DJ now?
Yeah, so it was actually it was a multiple of things, but I think the main one was that I'm like I was just saying, I'm not just a singer in that way. I think what a lot of people do is they allow this template that they've created when young or when at the start of their career to become a forced thing on them due to success. And everyone that works around you wants that success again. So they'll keep forcing the template. People you see in the street are like, do the dance, do the hair. Why don't you look like that anymore? It's a constant reminder that you should be that person. People get so used to the same thing. And for me, I felt like what was happening was my career and what I was doing was declining, but I was stuck in this template. And I was like, I can't move and I can't change this to see progression and development and more success in a different area. So I actually decided in lockdown just to, it was too stressful. Music became too stressful, too pressurized. So I completely stopped making music. I just took a year out and it was just the most refreshing, beautiful thing to not have that pressure on me. And soon as I took the pressure off, I was like, oh man, I used to DJ, I used to do dance music. Wow, that was so fun. Started remembering all the things that I used to do as a musician. And then I was like, I'm just going to do that. And I actually wanted to do it under a different name, just like totally unknown, and see if I could enjoy that ride up the scale again in a different way. And yeah, as soon as you get a manager involved, they turn around and go, "Oh no, the monthly listeners on Spotify are quite good, so we'll stick with that." But so that was the challenge, and it still goes on. I've been doing it for 3 years, and people are still so surprised. And I think that's now becoming the beauty of it, that it feels exciting because it's a new thing for people, not for me, but for people. So that makes it exciting, you know.
Well, along the way, you've been able to take some music and work with some people who are absolute legends. My song of the summer 2 years ago was your How Will I Know?
Oh,
Thanks.
that's great. Thanks, man.
Of course, of course. Now, that, of course, was a Whitney Houston sample or interpolation or cover, depending on how you want to work
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it, I guess.
Mm.
Are there any other uh, joints, bops, classics from back in the day that you've got your eyes on to make another song like that with?
Yeah, I think when we look at the Whitney one, I think I actually spoke to David about this, that it was important that we got the right one.
Yeah.
That, in fact, he didn't like it, wasn't it was me that kind of went, oh, I'm feeling that. And but it was like, I don't know what it was. It just felt like the chorus could be re-enlightened in a different way. And me being a guy singing a woman's song, it just felt like different enough, but it felt like a new thing. But it didn't. I think there's so many like remakes and things coming now, like these sample things, that it's just like crazy. So it scares me a little bit, that question and the answer. But I think with If You Really Love Me, it just felt right all the way through. It felt right. So it was the right answer to do. Obviously, there's an itch there because everybody's doing it. So it's again, it's just about finding the right one. For me, that hints towards my references and things like that. But yeah, there's two tracks I've been working on that have been released commercially before. So yeah. But yeah.
Okay, well, speaking of going back, and I know this might be a tough question because you've got so many hits, you've featured on so many hits. Which is currently, it doesn't have to be right now, of all time, but in this moment, which currently is your favorite of your own songs?
My next one.
Oh,
I say it every
Nice.
time, every single time somebody asks me, it's the next one. And I think that's the right mentality to have. I think if I didn't have that mentality, I just can't sit back. Like, I need to work forward. And I think it was actually a famous quote by Enzo Ferrari, and somebody said, which is the best, your favorite Ferrari you've built? And he said, my next one. And I just thought that was amazing. But I think if I do look back at moments and songs, I think they all have their different stories and their different highlights. Obviously, Love Me Again was like crazy and brought me to America and got to tour around America and have success there, which then led me on to Blame. But I think it's Blame with Calvin because it was just absolutely obscene. Like, I couldn't believe the success that had come to me. I think it was, I'd always been a fan of him and what he was doing. And yeah, and just to watch that song that started so naturally, I just made it on a laptop in a kitchen, and the vocal was just me singing into the laptop microphone. And we had it like that for like 6 months because we didn't want to change it because we just liked the energy. But to see it come from there, and the funny thing is about Calvin, he's really humble. So when you're working with him, you forget that you're making a Calvin Harris song. So then you're making this cool song that you're really into, and then bam, it goes number one and it goes crazy. And it was just like, to close Coachella with him, I walked on stage after Rihanna and sung that song in front of 110,000 people or whatever it was. And yeah, that was crazy. So I keep them moments at heart. Of course you should do. And yeah, but still not my favorite. The next one's my favorite.
well, do you want to spill any tea on the next one?
I say that it's a thing, but I've got more than one option, and I think it's just about. It's also like I've got a really, really exciting collaboration that's just waiting to come, and that's like really exciting. It sounds like, the only way I can explain it is, it sounds like Blame in its chorus, or it sounds like a John Newman chorus from one of the big ones, but with like a bit of tech house in and like a little bit of Interstellar. It's like amazing. That's really, really exciting, but I don't want to go into that too much. And then yeah, it's just about selecting what's the complete next step. To be honest, I've been so like overwhelmed and swept away with working on my live show. I'm just like, I'm so much of a perfectionist. I'm just spending hours and hours and hours working on that. But yeah, my manager keeps slapping me on the back of the head saying, come on, let's have some hits. So
I mean, you got some hits. You know, that's what you should text it back and be like, I got hits. Like,
it's a cruel world out there though, man. Like
that's
it
true.
changes quick, and it's fast, and TikTok is spreading like a disease, and it's like the world is changing quick. So it's a lot of pressure. That's what I meant about the pressure thing of having to perform. But it's now, maybe before you could have waited 2 years, but now it's every year. If you don't
Yeah.
deliver, it's you're gone cold, you know. So yeah.
That's true. Yeah, over the years, you've had your music featured on several video games. You've almost become like the video game soundtrack guy for a lot of people like me. You were on FIFA 14. They brought you back for 23, Madden 16, Need for Speed. Did you ever, when you found out about these, did you ever buy the game and play them just to hear your music in the soundtrack?
I would be buying the game anyway. Like I love FIFA so much. I play FIFA a
Nice.
lot. Need for Speed, like had it since I was a little kid, loved it. So these were like huge moments for me. There's nothing better than beating your friend on FIFA and then your song comes on. That's like the coolest thing.
You're
Or
right.
like just doing 130 miles an hour down a freeway, listening to your own song on Need for Speed. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's amazing. Real quick, what's your go-to team? Like if you're playing an online friendly in FIFA, who are you playing as?
I always find it hard. I used to be Real Madrid, and then now I don't think I'd be Real Madrid. If you need to win, it's
Yeah.
probably Man City. But normally I would pick, or no, PSG is the one that everyone goes with, right?
Say
Yeah, yeah,
PSG is mine. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, PSG, yeah.
Well, talking about football video games, I'm completely lost, but there's one thing that I'm not very lost at. You mentioned TikTok earlier on,
Yeah.
and you posted a TikTok struggling to read out some liners like not so long ago.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put you to the test.
Oh, this is good. All right.
Can you see your chat box? I'm going to send you a direct message.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, even Waters doesn't know what this is.
I don't actually. I don't.
So could you read this out as if it was a liner?
Hey guys, it's John Newman, and you're listening to the Gluten Free Radio Show with Swifty and the Beast. It's okay when I can read them there. It's when I can't read them. So I'm like, I've got a piece of paper that's like there, and I need to keep looking at the camera, and it's just, they're the worst thing. They're so hard to do.
That's true. Oh my God. Swifty and the Beast. We're going to talk about this after the video is closed down.
I'm excited.
I had to.
Oh, that's insane. All right, well, let's look to the future for you, John. You have not put out an album since 2015, but now that you're back at it with new sound that's exciting and energetic, and people are waking up to the new John Newman, do you think you're going to put together anything that's long form anytime soon with that new project?
It's like a thing that I constantly want to do because there's so much that comes with making an album that the music industry is now losing from certain artists. Is that in an album you get to create this concept, you get to create artwork, merchandise, you go on toys, all this thing. You are a character within that album almost. And I think as somebody that's made two albums, you get to go through the whole process of fully getting into how that album will feel and developing the whole thing. You get this whole picture. You really create a project. It's really, really hard when you're just doing single to reinvent yourself, to get that new character, to take the time to do that without, I struggle a lot with that. I think that's why I don't release as many singles as some people, because I want to reinvent constantly. And when you haven't got time to do that, it's really hard. So yeah, it's something that I really, I was like, I feel like I'm one of the album artists in that way, where I was brought through music in that way, where an album felt like the right thing for me. So I've got so many songs, and I think it's a hard one. Like I'd love to, yeah. It's just I think it's actually questions for record labels. Are they gonna let people make albums anymore? I don't know. I think it's easier for them to watch things go viral and then just pay for that and have a hit instead. Instead of me moaning about my emotions for 10 tracks, you know?
It is a very different musical ecosystem. That's true.
It is, but I think it can't, like, we have to, as artists, I'll speak for many people, we have to be creative, and we have to have projects, and we have to have ways to express ourselves to feel fulfilled when doing this job. So the album can't die for that reason, you know. But yeah, unless AI takes over everything.
It might at this point.
I love how you nervously say it might.
I mean,
And we're all nervously laughing, going,
We've had this conversation now with a few artists. Like some of them are like, "Oh yeah, let's do all the AI stuff," and some of them are like, "This is garbage. Like AI will never last." And I think they're both wrong, but like we all know that the truth is something way scarier in between.
yeah, I think it's exciting to some people because it's trending.
Yeah.
Because David Guetta puts Eminem on a track and a future rave track and he trends.
Yes.
So everyone's like, let's do that. But I'm like, don't do that. Like, you're going to make the situation worse. But I think it's hard. Like, my last answer to that thing as an artist, you've got soul, you need to express, and all these things. Can AI do that? Then comes in the question, do people care whether it's got that? It's,
Right.
I think it's difficult. I think it's really difficult, actually. But yeah.
I mean, that definitely is a difficult question that I don't think that we can probably answer within like 2023 at least. But I know you were speaking about wanting to constantly reinvent, but you've got such an iconic voice for dance tracks, especially now that you're pivoting into like producing more and being a DJ more. Do you think you found that iconic sound?
That's a really good question. I think it will take time, and I think it'll take experimenting. But I actually think they're the same thing. And this is what I worked out in doing this, that I feel like the productions are for me and what I love and how I feel. But if you put a picture up of what I am and what people want from a John Newman record, I think it's, as long as the voice is there, that is the unique thing. So I think that makes the productions more fun. And I have to remember this all the time, that if I want to sound unique in my own way, just sing, because that's the easiest way to do it. And I think it gives me so much space. But there's definitely like a really interesting idea that I play with a lot, in the idea of how far can I, obviously my voice sounds, I can't really label it, but like soulful, euphoric sometimes in that way, like danceability, and energetic. How far can I push the productions the other way before it starts getting really weird? So like, how electronic can I go? How can I do things differently before that mixture doesn't work anymore? And I think that's really interesting. And I think I always start a song with a pop melody and a catchy chorus, or something that makes it feel like a hit. That's how I start a song. So that's the super exciting thing. Keep my voice there, try and write songs that sound like hits, and then the productions can be quite crazy, to be honest.
Definitely. Well, that is what you've done on the latest single, and with Hold On to My Love out now, we'll have to reserve our excitement for the next one, because obviously that's the best one, but we'll hear it when we hear
but Hold
it.
On to My Love was as well.
Yeah, that's true. That was the best one when you put it out, right?
Yeah. Now I hate it. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Man, you could have said it was second best.
No, I actually, like, I genuinely really, really love that song. I think it's got something really special about it. I've done a crazy version to play live, and it's like 8 minutes long, and it feels like watching Interstellar in your ears. And I think it's such a vibe. I think, yeah, I'm really excited to play that.
John Newman, it has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you a little better, man.
I appreciate that. And you too, man. Thank you so much.